Hey babes, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maya and today's video is going to be a new series we are starting. Okay, as of now, the series is called Girl Talk, but I do want there to be a different name. So if we could come up with some different names for this in the comments below and then we could figure it out together, that would be great. This series is really like a good cozy vibe. We're going to be talking about different girl related topics. We're gonna have different drinks. Today's drink is hot cocoa. Sometimes we're gonna have tea. Sometimes we might have a little wine. We're just gonna vibe it out. We're just gonna see what the vibe is. Today's video is all about adult friendships. But here are some possible topics, and y'all put in the comments below what y'all want me to talk about next for the next Girl Talk. But one of the options is my experience figuring out I was queer, post-grad life, or birth control. So let me know which one y'all want me to talk about next. Today's video, like I said, is all about adult friendships. So let's get into it. Okay, so I'm 22 and I have had my fair share of friendships. And I can genuinely say that I have a couple of like good close friends, but I mainly have one close friend. And if you had asked me a couple of years ago how I felt about that, I would probably give you a different response than this response that I have today. I feel very content and happy with the relationships that I have and the friendships that I have. I'm becoming more open to expanding the amount of like connections and community that I have, but I'm not at a point now where I'm like yearning for or like actively searching for it, if that makes any sense. I think that adult friendships and childhood friendships are just so different, and there's so much complication in it, because I have like friends that I've had since childhood, and I don't have the relationships with my childhood friends that I did when we were children. And what connected us were things like school and church and different, activities. And the things that connect me to like my adult friendships is like literally time and effort and energy. And it's just such a difference. I think it's also hard like figuring out where to navigate, like, or how to navigate these relationships that I had during childhood, because as we are adults, like our friendships have changed, and there's things that like I don't know. I sit and think that like if we had not met as if we had met as adults, would we still be friends? And for some people, like the answer is definitely yes. And for some people, the answer is maybe, probably not though. And I think that that's weird. I put this in this really weird box of like, how do we continue? How do we continue to be friends? So it's very complicated. I have like, because I have my Judy, or my good friend, I feel very happy and content and friendship, because I know that if I call my best friend Zashiana, she's gonna pick up, or she's gonna text me, or she's gonna get back to me, and I know that I can depend on her and I can talk to her about anything, and she knows and she's been through so many things with me. And even though this is a friendship that I cultivated like as an adult, like in college, it's a relationship that means so much to me. It's a friendship that I just genuinely like appreciate, and she's like a sister to me. And I will do everything in my power to make sure that it is a lifelong friendship. And there's so many other people that I can't say the same thing about. People that I've been well acquainted with, or people, like, what I mean to say about that is I've had a lot of friendships where I've had a lot of friendships and people who I've considered to be my best friend that I've not felt that way about. And I think that I just used to always want big groups of friends. And I've had the big groups of friends, and what I've learned about them is that I don't actually like them. I'm not a big friendship group type of girl. And I can look at other people's relationships and their friend groups and really think, oh my God, I really want that. But in reality, I don't want that. I don't like that. I'm not very good at that. Because friend groups require you to have a different They require you to have a very similar friendship level with everyone in the group and also make decisions for the group as a whole. And I don't know if that allows enough space for me to be true to myself, because it's really hard to make sure that your relationships with everyone stay at the same level. What ends up happening is that people draw closer, and then that can make you feel a variety of different things, you know? Um, I'm not that girl. I'm not that girl. And my mom, I watched my mom have a lot of friends, and I wouldn't say that she had like a friend group, but she had lots of friends that got along well with each other. And so often they would spend time all together, even though she was the person that connected them. And I always thought that that's something that I wanted for myself. And while I do think that community is important, I think that community is very important. And had I not had the community that my mom cultivated and created, I would have had a very different childhood. There are people that I know that actively like picked me up from school, loved on me, that cared for me, and that to this day like love me, and they were like very, very influential in my growth, family to me. And so on that end, I'm like, ugh, it is beautiful to have community. On the other end, I don't know if I have time for that shit, dude. Friendships take time and work to cultivate, especially adult friendships. And so for me, because I now have my good Judy, I have my Zashi, I feel like and I also have other close friends, but I just kind of feel like, why would I want to open myself up to that and to open myself up to other people, if that makes any sense? Like, to create that community that's so beautiful, you have to put yourself out there and you have to be willing to meet people. And I have had some of the most disgusting and horrific friendship burns. Like, I've just had so many people that were in my life that were close friends of mine that turned out to be like terrible people. And were there signs that they were terrible people? Yeah, definitely, for sure, tons. Did I ignore those signs? Yeah. And I feel like I had so many friendships that were just so one-sided. Like, I was putting in so much effort. I cared about them so deeply. But when I look back on the friendship, I can't say that they put that same time, energy, or cared about me nearly as much as I cared about them. And that hurts. Obviously, that hurts. That's not something that, like, you know, anyone wants to go through. And so I feel very closed off. And even like when I got to Chicago, I expected me to move out here and be so excited to make new friends and to make new relationships. And I actually found that I preferred my solitude, and that I wasn't as open to making new friends as I thought. And that time that I spent like being in Chicago alone before I met my girlfriend Julia was very, very pivotal for me. It was a very important time, because I obviously did not know I was gonna meet like the love of my life. I didn't know I would meet her in February. Had I not taken that time to like really be alone and have solitude, I would have never had that time for myself. And it was really good for me to like take a season off of like actively searching and looking for relationships and friendships. And so I'm happy that I did that, but I guess I'm kind of in a place now where I'm just like, I, to an extent, want community and I want friendship, but I feel a little bit unwilling to like put in the extra effort that it takes. And it also might just be because this is the first time that I've had to do so. Like, I've made some, you know, connections in Chicago, but the relationships that I have to continue, like I have to actually like put in the effort and work. And you know, these people are lovely. Like, I do enjoy the time that I spend with them, but I have to like actively take the time out to do so. And that seems so difficult. I don't know why that seems so, like I said, I think it's probably partly because it's something that I've never had to do before. I always had school or work or something connecting me to the friends that I had. The first time that I'm actively like having to make that effort. And so with my best friend, I can do that. Like, even though we have a long distance friendship, I still make the effort to text her, to call her, to, you know, continue our relationship. But I don't know why it's so much harder for me to do that with these newer connections. And I just feel like, why don't people talk about how difficult it is to make friends as an adult? I think that is something that I'm still navigating, and I'm trying to figure out like how I can find an easy balance for myself. And I feel like in the past, I think part of this was like In high school, I was a cheerleader. So I remember like specifically like in high school, my freshman year, I spent a lot of time with the other cheerleaders and the football players because I was living out some weird high school musical like fantasy thing. It was fucking weird. Remember I got to this point where I was like, I don't like these girls. Like I don't like these girls, I don't like these guys. They're all actually super annoying and weird. And like it's giving real anti-black. And I just remember getting to a point where I was like, I don't like them and I don't have to spend any more time with them if I don't like them. And I just decided I wouldn't. And then that next year, there were more black girls on the cheer team and I hung out with those girls. And I hung out with them because I had access to them and they were cool and I liked them, not just because they were cheerleaders. And in school and college, I had this friend group and I left the friend group. And it was another example of this, like having uneven relationships with people. Like I felt like there were a few people in the group. I felt like I had individual relationships with everyone in the group, but I felt like there were people in the group that I was more close to than others. I became a person that I didn't want to be to fit into the group. And that was no one's fault but my own. And it was my own growth and it was like my own journey that I needed to go on without other people, without a group. And it was very lonely and it was difficult. But I'm just not into having a ton of friends for the hell of saying I have a ton of friends. But I feel like we talked about this topic real in depth. Let me know if you guys have any thoughts about anything that I said in the comments below. And then if you see anyone else's comment and you're like, oh, I really agree with this or have thoughts on that, please respond back to them. This is a community, which means that it's not just me talking like at you guys. Like this is all about us like having a conversation together. And I really like, I'm very curious to hear what you guys think about this topic because it's something that I wish was talked about a lot more. And don't forget to let me know what topic you want me to talk about in the next Girl Talk. It can be something that I mentioned or it can be a completely new topic that you want me to talk about because I think it'll be really fun like having these open and honest discussions together. So yeah, I hope you all have a great rest of your day and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye babes.